Preface of Lives of the Three Misses Judsons by Arabella M. Wilson. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Among the many benefits which modern missionaries have conferred on the world, not the least, perhaps, is the field they have afforded for the development of the highest excellence of female character. The limited range of avocations allotted to women, and her consequent inability to gain an elevated rank in the higher walks of life, have been a theme of complaint with many modern reformers, especially with a party who are loud in their advocacy of women's rights. That few of the sex have risen to eminence in any path but that of literature is too well known to admit of denial, and might be proved by the scantiness of female biography. How few the memoirs and biographical sketches which load the shelves of our libraries record the lives of women! The missionary enterprise opens to woman a sphere of activity, usefulness, and distinction, not under the present constitution of society to be found elsewhere. Here she may exhibit whatever she possesses of skill in the mastery of unknown and difficult dialects, of tact in dealing with varieties of human character, of ardor and perseverance in the pursuit of a noble end under the most trying discouragements, and of exalted Christian heroism and fortitude that braves appalling dangers and even death in its most dreadful forms, in its inaffectionate devotion to earthly friends and the service of a heavenly Master, compared with the true independence, the noble energy, the almost superhuman intrepidity of the Misses Judsons. How weak and despicable seem the struggles of many misguided women in our day, who seek to gain reluctant acknowledgment of equality with the other sex, by a noisy assertion of their rights, and in some instances by limitation of their attire. Who would not turn from a female advocate at the bar, or judge upon the bench, surrounded by the usual scenes of a courthouse, even if she filled these offices with ability and talent to render honor rather to her, who, laying on the altar of sacrifice whatever of genius, or acquirement, or loveliness she may possess, goes forth to cheer and to share the labors and cares of the husband of her youth in his errand of love to the heathen. And it seems peculiarly appropriate to that woman, who doubtless owes to Christianity most of the domestic consideration and social advantages which in its enlightened countries she regards as her birthright, should be the bearer of these blessings to her less favored sisters in the heathen lands. If the Christian religion was a gospel to the poor, it was no less emphatically so to women, whom it redeemed from social inferiority and degradation, the fruit for ages of that transgression which brought death into the world and all our woe. Never until the morning of the resurrection she came early to the sepulchre. She was made one in Christ, in whom there is neither in male nor female, with him who had hitherto been her superior and her master. Nor does she seem then to have misunderstood her high mission, or to have been wanting to it. The sisters in the infant churches rivaled the brethren in attachment and fidelity to the cause, and to their ministry the new religion was indebted, in no small degree, for its unparalleled success. Perhaps an apology may be deemed necessary for another memoir of the distinguished females whose names adorn our title page. With regard to the first Mrs. Judson, it has been thought that a simple narrative of her life, unencumbered with details of the history of the mission, would be more attractive to youthful readers than the excellent biography by Mr. Knowles. Of the second, though we cannot or wish to rival the graceful and spirited sketch by Fanny Forrester, still it is believed that a plain unembellished story of a life which was in itself so exceedingly interesting, may also find favour with the public. As to the last of these three Christian heroines, who has so lately departed from among us, as full a sketch as practicable is given, from a wish to embalm in one urn, perhaps a fragile one, the memoirs of all those whose virtues and affections have contributed so largely to the happiness and usefulness of one of the noblest and most successful of modern missionaries, the Reverend Adoniram Judson. The approval of several of the friends of the subject of these memoirs has encouraged us in our undertaking, and it is our sincere desire that the manner of its execution may be found acceptable, not only to them but to the friends of the missions in general. And should the work gain favour with our youthful readers, especially with female members of the Sunday schools and Bible classes, and prompt them to a noble emulation of so illustrious examples, the author's fondest hopes will be more than realized. End of Preface.